On your left. Yeah.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? We're back with another virtual video here. This is a first in a couple different ways. Well, first of all, it's our first actual full-length movie review since Back to the Future, which is at this point, what was it, like a year and a half ago?
It was about that because I we uploaded that Back to the Future Day 2023. Or no. It was the actual Back to the
Yeah,
Future Day on October 26th.
yeah. So
Yeah.
it's been a while. It's been like it's been a while since we've actually done one of these. But this is the first time we're doing a regular movie review over Zoom. And this is, I thought of this, Ethan. This is the first time in the channel's history that we're reviewing a movie, and this is the first time we're talking to each other about the movie. Because we each obviously we're
Yeah.
not together. You're at school. I'm at school, but here. And we each saw the movie separately, and we haven't exchanged thoughts on it yet. All we saw was what the other person gave it on Letterboxd. Ethan, I didn't even read your review, so I don't even know your thoughts on it other than
Oh,
what you
okay.
rated it out of 5 stars. So this will be a fun one to talk
Yeah.
about.
And we haven't talked about Marvel in a while, so I think this will be a pretty
Yeah,
good
you're right.
opportunity for us to talk about where we think the cinematic universe is at this point, where it's going. So, it should open up a real nice trajectory for this.
Yeah, I'm excited. So let's just hop right into it. Ethan, what were your thoughts going in to this movie? Like before you saw, what were you expecting?
So, going into this, I wasn't expecting to be completely wowed because I know that like there was a lot of drama behind the scenes with like script rewrites and a bunch of
I
reshoots.
forgot about that. You're right.
They
Yeah.
like yeah, apparently in the first draft there wasn't a lot of action and they had to like bring in a secondary villain at the last minute and stuff and everything was really choppy. So I was going in skeptically optimistic because like all of the reports were saying that this was it sounded like it was leading to another disaster like Quantumania,
Or like
but
the Marvels or something.
yeah, but the trailers looked really really good, so I was still excited. I'm like, okay, so um Bob Chapek is out, by Bob Iger is back. It looks like Marvel's trying to get back on track with like a quality over quantity. They really wanted to try and get this right. So I was still excited. And while I was watching it, I was I was totally into it. But after I left the theater, the flaws started to ruminate in my mind a little bit more. But I
Okay.
so I was like disappointed a little bit, but in regards to all of the backlash it's getting, I think it's overhated way too much.
I'll totally agree with you. Yeah, I watched it and I was fully entertained from beginning to end. My only issues was like what was left out of the movie. Like nothing that was in the movie bothered me. Maybe with time, stuff like that will start to come up and like like as I see people point it out, but from watching it, I really was into it the whole time, like you said. But like it was done, and I'm like, I kind of wish that was like 20 minutes longer, 30 minutes longer,
Yeah.
because we're again spoilers. Because like what happened with the villain, I personally really liked the villain. I thought that it was a cool, like I don't know, it just it felt like a good like campy comic book villain that
Yeah.
I want to see more about. But I just and I know that their plan is to follow up on this kind of stuff in the future. I just don't trust them that much anymore. Like if I see a cool idea in a movie now for Marvel, I want I want all of that idea in the movie because I don't know when the next time we're going to see it is. And that's how I felt a lot with this movie. That a lot of the storylines that they brought up and the thing where Ross is like, we're gonna restart the Avengers. I understand that that was a tease, but I don't know. I kind of wish we got just like a little bit more breadcrumbs on that.
Yeah.
And then just like I said, it's like more resolution with the villain would have been suitable for the story. Like I just wish that overall, what's his name?
Samuel Stearns, or the leader.
Yeah.
The leader's his villain,
I'm gonna call him the leader because they never call him that in the movie, but that's his name in the
which is
comics.
weird. Yeah.
Uh, yeah, but I just wish he had more of a presence in the movie because like, well, he was nowhere in the marketing. The marketing
No,
only
no.
said, "Hey, it's Red
I do
Hulk.
want to
He's
mention
the
something
villain,"
about that in a
and
bit.
he's not. You
Yeah.
know, so like, I wish that that Samuel Stearns had more of a presence throughout the movie.
Yeah.
Personally,
I think what would have helped the general audience score is if they uh, adjusted the marketing differently. Because I'll say personally, I didn't have an issue with how much Red Hulk was in the film. He's only in it as much as the trailers show he's going to be
I
in
know,
front of the White House at the cherry blossoms. But a lot of people were expecting this whole movie to be like about Captain America versus the Red Hulk, but that's just the climax that it's building up to. What they should have done in the marketing was just showcase the leader as the villain and then hint at Red Hulk. And I think that the out of the theater reactions for opening weekend would have been differently
I
like
agree with you.
if they did
Yeah,
that.
because you could tell it like they wanted the leader to be a twist, and like I didn't know that he was going to be. Well, I might have heard it, but I forgot by the time. I don't know, Marvel news now is in one ear out the other, but like rumors and leaks, I don't really care that much
Yeah.
anymore. But like for like the first third of the movie, like when you don't know who the guy is on the phone, who the guy in the shadows is, it's exciting, and like you see
Yeah.
like the green eyes, and it's like, oh, who is this? And then you find out it's like a twist, kind of. I don't know though. Marvel hasn't really ever cared about preserving twists in trailers. They're notorious for just giving them out. I kind of
Agreed.
wish that they flipped it though, showcased him as the main villain, and then have Red Hulk as a pleasant surprise because I think Red Hulk's inclusion in the movie is very, very well done. Like I really
Yeah.
do think that there's a lot of build up to it. Uh I wish that Ross hulked out on the boat. Um I understand that it was, but like that was a point in the movie where like we all knew it was coming and he was about to do it, and there's a crazy action sequence going on in the
Yeah.
sky. It would have been so cool if he did, but he didn't. Just to get more screen time, I think that would have been cool. But when Red Hulk does come out, even though screen time is limited, he is a it's used as like a good byproduct of what the villain does throughout the movie, and a good way to kind of wrap up Ross's arc. And I really kind of like it wasn't just a gimmick, it was used for story purposes, the inclusion of Red Hulk. So I thought that was really well done. I was just expecting him to be the centerpiece kind of.
Yeah. And it was just kind of weird because like at the end he just kind of like shows up behind Sam and he's like, I'm turning myself in, and that was it. And then there was the post-credit scene where he was like, things are coming.
That was
Like,
so stupid. That was the
so
worst post-credit
dumb.
scene. Like you could tell that like they forgot. I don't know. Like and Kevin Feige's like, we need a post-credit scene, and the director's like, so well, let's just talk about the multiverse. I love how they allude to the multiverse without saying it, like it's 5 years ago, Marvel. Like where like the
Right.
multiverse is still up in the air and it's still like a
The
hype word and they don't
others.
want to say it yet. Yeah, and I'm like, I know, dude. Like, I know that the multiverse is out there. You don't need to
Leak
like
it at
shoehorn this
two
in.
different Comic Cons. Like we know it's coming. But I mean, like, I will say, for as like dumb as it is, like, there's just something like fascinating about this forgotten about setup villain from almost 20 years ago, just
I
trying
know.
to not subtly foreshadow what's about to come next. It's like, what?
Yeah, it's like it was all
Like
planned from the
Nelson
beginning.
talking
Trust
about
us.
Secret Wars.
There was no mention made, zero mention made of Secret Wars and of the ending of Secret Wars. And I just think that is so funny. That is the funniest thing ever. It ends with the president of the United States plunging the country into a race war to kill all extraterrestrials. And that is not brought up once in this movie about the president of the United States, the next president of the United States. It's so funny because you can tell they just didn't care.
Yeah. I will say the weakest part of this movie for sure was the writing. And I will say in the movie it didn't bother me as much until after the fact.
What do you mean?
So, like, there were a couple points throughout where characters were just like kind of talking the plot to the audience. The one point where that kind of stuck out to me was when so like Sam and Joaquin and really, really tiny girl are I don't even
She was
remember.
really small.
She
She
was
was, yeah.
really
So,
distracting.
like she's an assassin, really?
Yeah. But like she's like, "Oh, we're calling in reinforcements. I need to get some information." And then he goes to the prison where and he's just like casually talking to Giancarlo Esposito and he's
He
explaining
should have been in the movie more.
that like he's like, oh, well, you see, Samuel Stearns, like he was imprisoned by Thunderbolt Ross, and he was using him to gain information, but he was poisoning him. And now he said that when he became president, he would set him free, he would pardon him. And it's like you're talking so much right now. This is like
I didn't pick up on that,
even
but yeah, I'm sure if I saw it again, I'll probably be like, you know.
and like I guess like technically I mean, it didn't bother me when the leader himself was explaining it to Sam and Joaquin when they got to the abandoned prison. Because, like, even at that point, it's like, ah, I'm a villain. I'm explaining my motives right now. Even though technically you could have put that together, it didn't bother me there. It was really just like at that point where, where, what's his name? Giancarlo Esposito. What's his character name?
Was it Sidewinder?
Sidewinder, he's just talking
Yeah.
to Sam, and he's just like willingly, very easily giving him this information. But he's like, "When I break out, I am going to murder you." It's like, what? Okay, all right, cool. I feel I feel that like the only scene in the movie with him that didn't really fit quite right was when Sam was in the car and then like he shot up the car and then there was like a shoot down between the two of them. That was the
Yeah.
only point where it just felt kind of jarring and out of
It
place.
happened kind of
Like,
early. I was expecting him to be
yeah,
in the movie more before that.
I
I like
mean,
how Sam had the dagger like dangling out of his chest during a lot of
yeah,
that fight.
it was. At the beginning it felt natural. It felt part of like the Marvel movie formula where it's like, okay, so we're going to do a little bit of a tease of the intro with the antagonists. We're going to set up the conflict here. Title
Yeah.
card. Now we're introducing our protagonist and they're having a fight, just this one-off fight with this villain that's only supposed to be here in this first act before we get the plot going. I'm like,
It
"Oh,
was very like
it's fine."
Civil War.
Yes. It was yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Um,
Um
it
I
did
was
bother me.
I was
Yeah.
down for it though. Like I really think that Anthony Mackie does such a good job in this movie, I think, because like not once does it feel weird. Like it doesn't feel like he's the sequel to Captain America or something. Just like the weird little like sidekick. Like it really feels natural that like he has taken on this role. And it's an interesting thing because like you really feel that sense of like responsibility because
Mhm.
like not only is the character Sam taking the mantle over from Steve, but the actor Anthony Mackie has taken the mantle from Chris Evans, and like you really feel like he's a lot more serious, he's a lot more mature in this movie, but like he's still his old self. So like I just really thought like I give him a ton of credit for how great he was in this movie. Like it was his thing, top to bottom. I think
He had some really good scenes just with other characters, like just dialogue exchanges with like Joaquin, and then the one with Bucky when that came in,
that was great.
I was like, oh
I just want to see them together again. Like I love seeing the
yeah,
two of them together, you know?
yeah.
But no, I was surprised at how much I liked Joaquin in this movie. Cause like I remember him talking to Winter Soldier. I'm like, who is this
He
guy?
was like
They
not in
yeah, like
it.
they introduce him as like you've always known this guy. And I'm like, I have like I don't know who this is. But I don't know. He just like he really slid into place in this movie. And the entire time I was watching it, I was like, I'm like, this guy is acting like he's in Top Gun Maverick or something. And then I looked it up and the actor was in Top Gun Maverick and I didn't even recognize him. That
Wait, he was in Top Gun Maverick?
he was a fanboy.
No shit.
Yeah, 'cause I
Oh
was just watching
yeah.
it and I'm like, am I sure this exact character, Joaquin Torres, wasn't in Top Gun Maverick? Because he is just like behaving and
And
talking like he's in Top Gun Maverick.
then
And
you
that's
have
not a
this
bad thing
like
at all.
this plane's like shoot down scene, and I'm thinking in the
I
theater, I'm like,
know.
this is very Top Gun.
Yeah. That he's typecast, but I'm here for it.
Wow.
Keep on doing it, man.
Yeah.
No, but like I really enjoyed him as a character. I like the dynamic between him and Sam.
Oh, it's great.
Um, and I think that he's gonna be cool in the future.
I loved. I think my favorite performance might have been Isaiah Bradley.
Oh,
The
he was
I
great.
loved my two favorite moments. I liked the little thing that they did with his suit. That was a really nice thing. And I loved
Yeah.
um the moment where like he's surrounded by all these um police forces, and Sam's just like, you got to turn yourself in. If you're running, it could be much worse. And he's like, I can't go back. And as he like surrenders, he like quivers, and like he's putting
Yeah.
it behind it. It's just it's
And,
so
and like and
so
like
heartbreaking.
what like when they're taking him, he's like, "Watch my suit, watch my suit." It's like, oh
Right.
man, it was
I'm
yeah,
like
he was
I'm
really
like
good in this
feeling
movie.
things. I haven't felt things in a Marvel movie since like
It's great, isn't it?
Guardians 3. It's
Isn't it
incredible.
great? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I just think that he's a great character. The whole like the plot, I wasn't aware of what the plot was going to be really at all. I like the sense of intrigue that the trailers built up. It
Mhm.
felt like a political thriller, kind of in the way Winter Soldier was. And like, that's not my favorite genre, but the more I watch it, the more I like it. Like in my film class, I had to watch a couple like political thrillers, and I ended up really enjoying them. But like I did kind of like the conspiracy and like the way it went. Some parts felt rushed, I think, with like when they like how they found out like who the leader was. And I don't know, some parts like I felt like they could have again, I'm just going back, like it should have been a half hour longer.
Mhm.
So like some parts I just feel like it could have taken the characters more time to figure out. But all in all, I think that it was a pretty solid constructed like puzzle for them to figure out.
Yeah. Another thing that I thought was kind of weird, um, just in retrospect, was so like in the movie you have Thunderbolt Ross, and he's like, work with me, Sam. I want to rebuild the Avengers. And then like the terrorist attack happens, and then he's like, oh, never mind, we're not doing that anymore. And again, like in the theater, like I didn't really think about it too much, but afterwards it was kind of like, oh, all right, was that just like a tease that like the Avengers are coming back, or
Well,
like,
they did because they mentioned the Avengers like what like one or two times more after that. Like at the end of the movie, right? Like Sammy's like, "You're gonna be a great part of the Avengers" or something like that to Joaquin.
I
Because they do mention it. They
I
don't
do
just totally
remember
leave it aside. But I
I
remember thinking that
remember
I'm like, are we just done with the Avengers thread now? But there were some little things.
I mean, aside from like the Secret Wars set up by the leader, but like the only thing, I don't remember that part when he said that to walk in. What I do remember is when he walks in and he wakes up, he's like, the Falcon awakens, and it's like, because at the beginning he's like, you're not Falcon, so
Yeah, yeah.
they had to do that at some point. Um, I
Let's oh god.
No, I was just gonna talk about how like it was just like cool to see Harrison Ford in an MCU movie.
I was just gonna say let's talk about Ross.
Yeah.
Um I thought he did great, honestly.
I mean,
Of
come
course he did,
on.
but no, it's like I don't know. I've never been the most invested in the character of Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross in the MCU. Every time he would show up, I would just be like, ah, this guy. Um, but I really think that this movie showed the complexity of just his character, like how many terrible things he did, but then like he's also trying to like move past that and like
Yeah.
reconnect with his daughter and stuff. Which, by the way, Liv Tyler should not have received billing in this movie. That was a cameo. Her voice was in one
Did she
scene, and then
receive,
she walked on and said
did
"Hi,
she
Dad," like
get
at the
paid
end.
for it?
Huh?
Did she get paid for it?
No, I mean like yeah, she got paid for it, but like she's one of the top billed actors in the movie. Like it says like
Shouldn't be.
featuring Liv Tyler. And it's like, okay, she's barely in the movie. She's
She
in two
does one
scenes.
voiceover and then she's in like one
The
scene.
voice, yeah, then she
Yeah.
shows up once. I don't know. But no, but like I really liked the way that they addressed the relationship, the fracture relationship between Ross and Sam. Uh it really helped the audience like put together that's the same character. And he's like, I shaved my mustache. That was funny. It's like, yeah, like I was that guy and I shaved my mustache and now I look like Harrison Ford. It's crazy how that works. But in every old picture that they showed of him, he had like the stupid mustache. And
Yeah.
I got a kick out of that. But yeah, what would you think of like the way that they treated his character in the movie?
I was really, really invested in it because, like, similar to what you were saying, he wasn't a character that I was really interested in previously, and maybe it was just because it was two different actors. William Hurt, like, is very different from Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford is very like he's like a protagonist guy. You know,
Hmm.
like he's Indiana Jones, he's Han Solo. He's just like I feel like that just kind of like fits. Like even though like it is William Hurt's character, I don't know if I could say that like if he were still alive and did this movie that this movie would be the same. And
I agree with that.
that's not to say that it would be like better or worse, but just because the actors are very different. And
Hmm.
like it was just I don't know. It was just kind of cool because I feel that like he has this persona that he's just grumpy and fed up with everything, but like he's in a movie with one of the biggest like cinematic universes, like franchises. And like in all of like the press stuff that he's doing, like it seems like he enjoyed it and is enjoying it, and that just makes me happy. So
Yeah, and he just has like the persona that he's just like over it, and I love that about him. Like it's so good to see. But no, like, I like how they you don't see this very often in Marvel movies because it like this the stories are so big and they stretch over such a long period of time. Um, you don't see movies that introduce something and then pay it off like on a character level. So like with this movie with Ross and like the cherry blossoms, that's never been mentioned before. But I think this movie did a really good job of incorporating that into his character and then paying it off in a satisfying way just in this one self-contained movie. It makes each movie feel like its own journey and not just the next episode. Because like in the very beginning, the first one of the first times we see him when he's at the cemetery, there's a cherry blossom in the background, and then the next time we see it, like when he's in Japan talking to that guy, there's a cherry blossom there, and that's before we even hear him mention to his daughter the significance of the cherry blossom. So like, and I picked up on that because like the cherry blossom, it's a very distinctive thing, and one of my favorite shots in the movie. And this speaks to like I feel like, and maybe you'll agree with me, this movie you really feel purposeful directing and cinematography in. Like I feel like it's not just the Marvel machine checking boxes. Like I feel like the director made choices to serve the story. I feel like the story and the plot drove most of the filmmaking decisions, and that's so good to see. So like one of my favorite shots in the movie is when the leader is like right before Red Hulk comes out, when the leader's like on the loudspeaker, like explaining what happened. There's a
yeah,
shot of the loudspeaker and right behind. So the whole frame, it's the cherry tree in the background, which is like a symbol of Ross's the good side of him and like his past and what he wants to return to, the normalcy of his life. And it's a cherry blossom, but then right in the middle of the cherry blossom is the big square black loudspeaker, out of which is this guy saying he's a monster, he's this terrible person. So
yeah.
it's like obscuring the goodness, and I really like that. And I'm like, huh, like this is cool to see, like a good creative decision made by the director to serve this individual movie. Like it makes the movie stand out as its own story. And there's a lot of little things like that throughout the movie. And that's just a big reason of why I liked it as much as I did.
Yeah, I did like where Julius was going direct. His name's Julius, right? Director.
I don't know. I don't know the
Okay.
director.
But
Let me verify.
I liked where he was going with the just the motif of the cherry blossoms. I just feel that like it got right when he turned into Red Hulk. From there up to the end, I think it got a little heavy-handed because like that's when they got to the literal cherry blossom park.
He's
Sam's
like,
like,
look,
we are,
it's
look, here we are, this green screened cherry blossom.
I don't think it was green screen.
Oh, it
Maybe
looked
it was.
bad. It
Okay.
looked pretty
I
bad.
didn't
I'm
pick
not
up
gonna
on
lie. I mean, like
it.
it. Some of the shots just are like really, really good, and then there are other shots where you were like, there's just like the lighting is just different, and you can tell because like the lighting against like Sam's head in one shot doesn't necessarily match what's behind him, and it just
Okay.
sticks out a little bit.
I
Um,
saw it in 3D, so I wasn't able to pick up on those intricacies.
use-
I do like
did you see
seeing
it in
I
3D?
did not I did, yeah. This is the only time I've seen a 3D movie in my adult life that wasn't an Avatar movie. Um but it was good. And I'd noticed during it, I'm like, I should see more 3D movies because it forces you literally to pay attention to the focus of the camera. It's something that you take for granted in like every movie that you watch, but when you're watching 3D, like the focal point of the lens is always brought out and it's always clear, and everything in the foreground, everything in the background is blurred. So like, I don't know, you pay attention, you notice the camera operation more in 3D. So I'm like, oh, maybe I should check out more movies in 3D and see what I can learn about it.
I mean, I don't know. Those glasses are always really uncomfortable, so I.
Yeah, and like they showed like uh a couple other trailers before the movie, and the trailers were in 3D, just to kind of like get you used to wearing it. And I don't know, the trailers gave me such a headache, and I'm like, I don't know if I could do this, but then I got used to it for the actual movie. Julius Ona, the director's name is, by the way.
Julius Ona. Okay.
Yeah,
I knew that the last name started with an O, but I didn't want to say,
yeah,
I didn't want to say it wrong.
yeah. Um, I thought it was cool though in that final fight with the cherry blossoms, how like the leaves were like going on the Hulk's like skin and they were just like burning. But then, like you said, I think it did get a little heavy-handed. Where like I noticed it and I caught on to the symbolism,
Right.
but then like they brought it out more, and it's like, oh my God, like I don't know exactly what it was, but
It's
like they made it more,
burning.
yes, they
Well,
made it
no.
more
So
obvious than they needed to make. I'm like, okay, guys, like I caught on to it. It's okay.
I think and I read this up afterwards. So like one of Red Hulk's powers that's different from regular Bruce Banner Hulk is that sometimes when he touches things, they turn like to fire.
Oh,
Like they can burn or so, or
I
it's
wish,
something along those lines. So I
I wish we
think that
got more of that.
kind of like that. And also something that in that same article, it distinguished how the Hulk is an alter ego to Bruce Banner, but Red Hulk and Thunderbolt Ross are the same person, which I thought was really
Mm,
interesting because like
yeah,
you really see like through like Hulk's journey in the MCU where he's kind of like talking to Hulk like it's a Jekyll and Hyde thing. They are two
yeah.
types of people, but um Red Hulk he just gets like really really mad and that like is him. And I still don't really know what that changes for me, but it's something interesting to think about.
It made it distinct, and it gave us real Hulk action that we've been so deprived of. Um, I wish we got more, but it's good that we got it. Maybe we'll get more in the future, hopefully. If
He's
Marvel decides to,
he's in prison
uh,
now. We'll see.
Yeah. If Marvel decides to give us good Hulk content, which we've been lacking pretty much since the beginning, to be honest, like, oh man. The Avengers is probably the best Hulk movie. It's probably the best Hulk content
Yeah.
there is.
I
The
mean,
Avengers and Age of Ultron.
Age of Ultron. I mean, Ragnarok's pretty good, but like I
But
understand.
like Hulk isn't a rage monster in Ragnarok. He's
Yeah,
very conscious and
he's
it's
just,
good, but not in the way that Hulk normally is.
he's a giant like man baby, as some
Yeah,
people described him.
it
It's funny,
works, but
but like,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Um, what else do we have to talk about? I really like the action. There wasn't a ton of action, and I noticed that like kind of in the midway point, it's like, you know what? It's like there hasn't been an action scene in the last big chunk of the movie, but I didn't feel like it needed it. Like I feel like I said, the story dictated a lot of the choices made. But when we did get action, it felt so good to have it be punching and explosions and guns and like the shield and not just energy blasts. Like you
yeah,
don't know
no
how
energy
happy that
blast.
made me. It just I see stunts and I see the wings slicing stuff and I see the shield like being thrown
Yeah, that
and
was all really cool.
we took it all for granted in the past. It's great to get it back, you know.
And that's what we're gonna get that in the next one because Thunderbolts is all like it's just a bunch of
That's
people.
right.
They're
That's
just
right.
really strong and they've got guns and stuff. That
And I thought of that.
yeah,
It's an interesting two movies to pair together, release date, right? And this probably wasn't intentional because of how much stuff gets shuffled around in Marvel's schedule.
right.
But we have two street level, very like human movies coming out back to back. And maybe that'll make them seem more connected. Maybe we're moving in the right choice in the right direction with this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um I also liked how it was cool to see Captain America be more violent than he normally is. Because like obviously like Sam doesn't kill, but he's a lot less merciful than Steve. Like he'll go full beast mode in a fight where Steve won't. So it was cool to see that, you
How do
know?
you which at which points? What do you mean?
No, it's just like overall, like in his fights, he just like he had a lot more attitude to it. I think that he actually says that at some point where it's like I don't know, it's been a couple days. I don't know the exact scene or line, but like he said how like he's I don't know. He's more like he's more of a like badass, like outright badass than Steve is.
Maybe it's just like because they're two completely different characters with two completely different motives, and each Captain America like represents something totally different. It's not just
Yeah.
two different people technically playing the same character, even though it kind of is.
It's
I
cool to see that with like the same skill set, same responsibilities, but two different guys.
But maybe like the performance is upped a little bit more because like as it's been stated in this movie and the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, he doesn't have the serum. He
I
is
love that too. Like I love
yeah.
that about him. Like he's just a guy and he's got all this responsibility on his shoulders. And I think they did a great job with that, especially this little conversation with Bucky.
I also like how it wasn't like I rewatched The Falcon and the Winter Soldier before coming into this, and it was amazing how not really any of that mattered for watching this movie. And the ending, the ending of episode 6 was very preachy, where he's talking to a senator
You
about
gotta do better.
to do better because
Yeah.
they like the writers failed to make the villains be truly bad. They're like, oh well, they're doing these awful things, but they're actually right because corporate is bad. Corporate is bad. So
Yeah. It's like,
then he is
but
preaching
they
to the
are
people
too.
he's trying to save. Yeah. So I'm glad there wasn't really, even though technically it was based around the president and trying to form a treaty about like mining adamantium. It wasn't overtly political and it didn't seem like it had an agenda. It was just something that was going on in that
Yeah.
universe.
Yeah. It was like we said, self-contained.
Yeah.
It's its own story with its own stakes. And I liked it. I think it's a good return to the simplicity where, like not simplicity meaning stupid, simplicity meaning not taking on more than you could chew. Like what it gives you, it delivers on. Not perfect, obviously, but I could really get behind everything that this movie is, and I hope that we get more Marvel content like it in the future.
Yeah.
I miss Stan Lee. I miss him cameoing in movies.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess I'll say, final thoughts. On
let's
average,
hear him.
definitely better than what Marvel has been putting out previously. Like, it's
Agreed.
not Ant-Man, Quantumania, it's not the Marvels, it's not Secret Invasion, hell, it's not even the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. But at the same time, though, I still think it has flaws. It's like we're like coming out of this manufactured era, but like that's still a little bit in this movie. But I
Yeah,
enjoyed it, and I'm not coming out of it as cynical as other movies.
agreed. Yeah, it has flaws, but no flaws that make me be like, oh, this is a bad direction that they're going in. Because all the flaws I feel like that it has are flaws that we've seen before.
Yeah,
And they're flaws that could be worked out. Like there's no flaws that make me fear for the future. The positives far outweigh the negatives. And yeah, I wish the ending title card, instead of saying Captain America will return, it should have said the Avengers will return. Because for the first time, I feel like we're working towards something. I feel like this movie
yeah.
gave us something.
I think
And
because like they're bringing
yeah,
things together, that's why it's better than I think it's better than people are really giving it credit for.
yeah, and we got a Bucky cameo on this, and Bucky's going to be in the next movie. So
Yeah,
maybe this is good. Maybe we're working our way out of the dark era of the MCU. We're not gonna say anything too soon, but there's seeds of hope littered in there, and I think that should be the main takeaway from this movie is
yeah.
that whatever you complain about, we're moving in the right direction. I think we could all agree on that.
Alrighty. Well, thank you again for tuning in to this first like regular episode in a while.
Yeah. Thank you for your support on our last video. That video, we got like crazy numbers for this channel on that. So thank you all so much for checking that out. And
Yeah.
thank you so much for tuning into this one. Is there anything else you want to add?
So I'll say that of the four Captain America movies, I think Brave New World is the weakest. I would put it below the first three. It's
I
not
agree with that.
bad. I just don't think it's great or as great as the first three that came before it.
Definitely. But I do think it's better than Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Oh, absolutely. Falcon and the
Yeah.
Winter Soldier, dude, that rewatching it, like I love the Captain America like universe, but like it was just way too dragged out. That should have just
Yeah.
been a movie in itself.
I
My-
agree. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, comment, let us know what you want to see us talk about in the future. We have some fun plans,
Stay tuned
especially
for
with the Oscars coming up.
yeah, big Oscar stuff coming up. We're gonna do a retrospective um after the awards ceremony, and we're gonna try and do a predictions beforehand.
Fingers crossed.
We don't
Yeah,
know in what format, because last time when we did a regular episode like this, it straight up didn't upload, and we got a lot of good content on it, and now y'all missed out.
I know.
So, and
Yeah.
feel bad.
Um,
We're gonna try and figure something out.
we'll figure something out. Yeah. But stay tuned. We have a lot of fun stuff in the future. And until next time, we are the Yo Bros, and we want to talk to you about stuff.